Hey there, it's Ben Halsall here, and here in this video we're going to be having a look at how to shoot B-roll on an iPhone. And basically, if you're shooting any kind of video, whether it be an interview, whether it be an unboxing or a travel video, B-roll is super useful in order to add fluidity and flow into your edit. Let's dive into it. Now, not just for B-roll, but for any footage that you're recording, you want to make sure you clean your lens. Now, I use either these lens wipes or lens cloth, and you want to do this every time that you start off a shoot. Just make sure your lens is clean, your camera is clean, whether it's an iPhone or a DSLR, and have a look at the lens and see if there's any dust or anything on it. Also, if you're videoing close-ups, so B-roll of electronics, you'll find there's a lot of dust sometimes on those objects. It's worth having one of these air dusters that allows you to really clean the dust off. So definitely take a few moments to clean your camera. It's really annoying if you've got any dust on your lens and you've lost all your footage because you've not cleaned your camera before you started shooting. So my second tip is to use the autofocus and auto exposure lock on your iPhone, and essentially all you do is hold down your finger on the screen for just a few seconds, and it will then hold the focus and hold the exposure for that particular shot that you're taking. So it means that if you have some movement in your shot, or you move your camera towards a window or a brighter or darker object, the auto exposure is not going to adjust for that particular shot. Super useful. Just hold your finger on the screen of the iPhone on the object you want to focus on and set the exposure for, and once it says AEAF lock on the screen, then you're good to go. My third tip for shooting B-roll is to make sure that you shoot wide, medium and close-up shots. So don't just come away from a shoot with one wide shot of the object or things that you were shooting. Make sure that you get that nice coverage. So move in close, move to a medium shot and move to a wide shot, and get that range of different shots for your edit. It's going to be super useful and mean that you can have that nice level of flow and control in your edit. So my fourth tip is to move just a little bit. So don't try and hold the camera so super still that you end up with shaky hands. Try and keep a little bit of fluid movement to the left, to the right, to the up and down. And even though you're holding the camera basically still, this is going to make sure you don't get that kind of vibrating shake in your hands. In addition, always try and hold for a few seconds either throughout your shot when you're doing a wide, medium or close-up shot, or before and after you've actually done a movement. So we'll talk a bit more about movement in a minute, but basically whenever I'm doing a hold at the beginning or end of a shot or throughout a shot, I count to 4 or 5 in my head and make sure that I keep the camera kind of focused on that one shot within those 3, 4 or 5 seconds, and that will give me the footage I need. So tip number 5 is to shoot at 60 frames per second or 120 frames per second. And what that means is that it's much easier to get that smooth slow motion effect when we're working in Final Cut Pro 10, or simply to smooth out some of those shots that are a little bit shaky when you're holding the camera handheld. So you can see here I'm jumping into the camera preferences on my iPhone, and at the moment I have my camera setting set to 1080p at 60 frames per second, which means I can slow down to half speed and get a nice smooth slow motion, or smooth out my clips. We can also jump into the slow motion and shoot at 1080p at 120 frames per second, which means that we can slow down by 4 times. So if you're shooting something on a skateboard or something like that, then this is going to be really useful for getting those nice kind of slow-mo shots of action footage in Final Cut Pro 10. Tip number 6 is to borrow a Lazy Susan. So either you'll find one in your kitchen or head down to the kitchen store and grab a Lazy Susan. It's a really cheap way of getting that nice kind of smooth motion in your footage in Final Cut Pro 10. We can also use it in a couple of different ways. So you can see here we can mount the camera on the Lazy Susan to get some different kind of smooth shots. I've raised it up on some books for some different shots here, and then also we can actually put the object on the Lazy Susan if you want to do that kind of nice 360 move around the object. Sometimes it's a little bit of work to get the really smooth motion, but it's definitely a good inexpensive way of creating that smooth motion. Tip number 7 is to always include some movement in your shot. So whether you're going left, right, up or down, or in or out, that's going to help you in your edits move smoothly from one shot to the next. Tip number 8 is all about being in focus when you move into an object. And the way I do this is to do it in reverse. So I will be close to an object with my camera, hold the focus and the position for 3 or 4 seconds, and then move away. And then once I've got that into the edit, I can reverse it, and it looks like we're kind of nicely moving into the object with a hold at the end once we've reversed it. So essentially we move into a perfect focus because we've let the camera focus and then we've just reversed what we shot. Tip number 9 is to use the stabilization in Final Cut Pro 10. Now essentially we are shooting handheld for a lot of these different techniques, so using the stabilization is going to help a lot, but also you don't want to over stabilize, so sometimes you need to watch back the clips, see if you get that little bit of stabilization wobble in them, and then moderate it back. But what I normally do is try and take a number of different takes when I'm shooting, and then that means that one of those will be nice and smooth when I add the stabilization. My final tip number 10 for this video is to add focus blur to your clips, and what this means is it will add that little bit of extra refinement to your clip, so we're blurring out things that aren't the main subject of your video in the background, and allowing the clips to have that little bit of extra edge, that little bit of extra interest by having a slightly more accentuated depth of field. So thanks for watching this video on 10 tips of shooting better B-roll on your iPhone. Obviously a lot of these tips will cut across any different cameras that you're using, but they're aimed at kind of showcasing how we can use these smartphones, these devices that we carry with us all the time to shoot better video. So if you have your own suggestions, and I'm sure you have many, of how you shoot better video with your iPhone or with your smartphone, then please leave them in the comments below. And thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.